and now we have audio. So, yes, basically, I just want to start by saying thank you all for supporting Mirth Films throughout everything. We are now going to be doing a lot more live streaming, and one of the things that I would like to be doing more often is sharing with everybody my techniques and skills when it comes to processing photos, editing videos, shooting videos, so on and so forth. As some of you know, you've seen me do some YouTube videos reviewing camera equipment and all of that great stuff. And so yeah, it just please let me know if it sounds all right, if it this looks all right now. Again, this is a first time thing, even though we've done a bunch of podcasts. So yes, Hawthorne Heights. That was today's photo shoot, and what a blast! Big shout out to Keith Morales for going and putting together such an incredible lineup. Along with all of the staff at City of Albany, always do a great job. So we're just going to jump right into this. And first off, when I'm going to shoot a concert, whatever it is, I also like to base my trip around what I'm doing. And so if I'm going and shooting a concert in Albany, maybe on my walk to the concert. Thank you, Dylan McKenzie, for the tip here. But yeah, so when I'm going and shooting a concert, if I'm in a new city or if I'm in a city that I've already been to, I try to photograph everything along the way. So the first photo that I took of the night for tonight's Alive at 5 concert was not even a picture of a concert at all. So we got right here, this is the bridge. I don't even know the name of this bridge, but I just thought it was cool. This is along the walk towards where they have the concerts for Live at 5 that don't happen at Jennings Landing, the rain site. So first thing I like to do, it's an exposed day, so we have some clouds, and obviously we just had a lot of smoke coming through from Canada, and so we got that Canadian tree we've been ingesting in our lungs the last couple days, and it's been not the best. But yeah, so first thing I'm going to do is drop my highlights, because that's the first thing I want to do is balance my dynamic range, play with the whites, the blacks, the contrast, see what I can do. This may not even be a photo I keep. This is just what I do. So I'm going, and a little vibrance here. This is Adobe Lightroom, by the way. You can pay for this. And if you are going to college or you still have a college email, save some money, because you can get this program along with the whole Creative Suite for dirt cheap. So I'm trying to bring the blues back. That's really the goal here. So I'm going to add some dehazing. Dehaze, what does that do? That basically exactly what it is. It takes the haze out of photos. So I'm taking the haze out of this photo right here. It's great when I'm shooting concerts, or when, there's a bunch of smog that's traveling in from the other side of the border here. And secondly, after I kind of get my photo balanced, I like to then make sure everything's tack sharp. Right here, these leaves are my foreground, so I'm not really concerned about that, but I want to make sure that bridge is tack sharp. And I mean, this is zooming in a lot, so as you can see, it looks pretty good. So now it just looks a little off as far as the rotation goes, so I'm going to crop a little bit and bring it a little more centered. So when I'm editing vertical photos, obviously Instagram uses the 4x5 format, but when I'm taking photos, it is not 4x5. So, which I actually like, because now I have more information to play with when I'm posting a photo on Instagram, or if I'm trying to post a vertical photo on Facebook. So here's photo number 1. So we're going to keep on going through here. There's going to be a lot of beater photos here. First thing you got to know with photography, everything that I take isn't going to be a keeper. So, like today, I shot 755 photos. Realistically, we're probably going to get down to like maybe 70 photos tops. That's between 2 bands, any crowd shots, or whatever I can get. But so here we go. 2 cameras that I was using tonight were Sony A7 IV, and then the Canon EOS R, which I mostly on the Canon EOS R shot the 14-35 lens. This right here, no good. This guy's eyes, not really that open. So we're going to delete that here. Got another photo. Guy just staring at a paper. Not interesting to me at all. Nothing I can do with that photo, but that's okay, because the whole goal is just to shoot your ass off And yeah, you don't want to overshoot. Like that is also a downside. Like you definitely want to know what you're trying to aim for when you're shooting a photo. But if you can't, then and like tonight, I don't normally shoot pop punk music. I shoot a lot of jam bands that just noodle, which is totally cool too. But it's a different landscape tonight, so I kind of had to just spray and pray a little bit, which is a little different. So we're getting through the photos here. Nothing really good so far, but that's just all fine and dandy. And yeah, if you haven't already, go subscribe to Mirth Films on YouTube. That's how we're trying to grow ourselves in 2023, and it helps out a lot. Thank you to anybody who already has. So still going through. I'm not happy with it. Not happy with that either. Not happy with that either. I mean, these are all tack sharp, but definitely not what I'm looking for. So now we can kind of see some emotion. We're getting into the first 30 seconds of the song. So I'm looking at this photo. This is something I like. This guy's face is tack sharp. Thank you to what are we shooting here? This was I can't even tell. Sony A7 IV. I was shooting the Canon 70-200 f2.8 on that camera. So first thing I'm going to do is maybe bring up the exposure just a little bit, see what I can play with, because the second thing I like to do is add some contrast. So I'm going to add some contrast here, and maybe some clarity, but I don't want it to get too crunchy, so maybe I'll just bring it up to like 7. Look at where I'm looking at here. I can kind of still see some haze, so instead of bringing down the whites, I think I'm just going to bring up the exposure a little bit and then dehaze it a little bit, because again, we're dealing with a smog of air today coming through. And to those who didn't get to make it down because you're at the Thomas Rhett concert, I hope you enjoyed your night. But tonight it was all about Alive at 5. Week 1, week 2, we got Mahali with side B. So got some Mahali action going on for those Twiddle fans, or just fans of jam music, or fans of live music. It's you want to go out and support as much live music as you possibly can, because the bands out there, especially the local ones, they need your support. So something I'm just going to do is I just want to see where my photo started and came from here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of toggle on and off what I've been editing. So first off here, well, it will be easier just for the time's sake, is this is just one from the same series. So that's what I was working with a raw photo. Always want to take your photos in raw. And that's what I'm working with here. So now I realized, okay, maybe I've over-edited a little bit. So I'm going to drop my whites, bring a little vibrance in. And I think I'm happy with that. So I'm going to keep on continuing through just because we got 727 photos left to go. And for those who are interested in photography or have any questions about my process, or even if you say, hey, Frankie, there's an easier way to do this, then I'm all about learning new things. So please share your advice in the comment section down below on Facebook and YouTube. Every time I'm going to be doing one of these photo editing videos live, I'm going to be doing them both on Facebook and on the Mirth Films YouTube channel, so you can watch them right on there, just like you are now. But going back, this guy looks like he's gonna swallow that microphone, so we're just gonna get rid of that photo as well. Hate microphone stands, but what you gonna do? Still getting through here. So one challenge that I was dealing with shooting, anytime I'm shooting Alive at 5 at the rain location, is the dynamic range. That is a little bit iffy because you're getting so much light from the pockets under the bridge, and then you're getting nothing but darkness under the bridge. So you got to figure out how to frame your shot, and for the tights, if you can get in tight, that's really important. So I'm going to edit this photo just for the sake, if I do not have a photo of this guy going forward throughout the series of my shots. Always like to have a couple shots that you can save, and there's nothing wrong with having similar shots that you have through the end of your editing process, because then you can narrow down what you're actually going to keep and what you're not. So here we go. Great opening set by this band, and yeah, huge thanks to the city of Albany for allowing free music in town. That's really cool. And on Wednesday nights, you can actually this all summer long go to the Plaza for some music at the Plaza. Last year we had Mo there. This year we got some other great acts like Yonder Mountain, like Robert Randolph and the Family Band. But here we go. This is a photo that I'm starting to really like. I really thought I took this photo on a prime because I was shooting an 85-1.8 at one point, but this is on the 70-200 with the Sony A7 IV. Don't really have much working with here when it comes to him playing other than the stick right here. But, I mean, I really like his facial expression. It comes off, I don't know, flattering, I guess, but definitely going to keep this photo. And when I'm shooting photos, in the past, I would just try to shoot as much as I could to hope that I got something. And now, you know, I do have something that I'm looking for after now I've shot a bunch of concerts. So, I guess what my level of what I'm keeping, I definitely, I'm not going to say I'm harder on myself, but I definitely like to, yeah, pay attention and try to get some meaningful shots and not just get quantity style shots because it is quality over quantity. Here we go. Now we're working into some facial expressions here with the drummer, but I'm just still cruising through. There's a photo I already like, but I think I like this one a little more. He's crossing his drumsticks, ready to bang on either a cymbal or who knows, maybe another tom. I'm not a drummer, but maybe for the drummers out there could tell me what part of the drum he might be going to. That you know, that would definitely help me out. But you know, in this situation, okay, maybe this guy's skin is not the best. No offense to the guy himself, but that is something I think about. How can I make the subject also look as flattering as possible without taking it out of the reality of the photo? So I use this tool called Texture on Lightroom. So I'm going to drop the texture down, making his face a little softer, and it already cleans it up a lot. So great use of that tool. That tool was added within the last 3 or 4 years of Adobe Lightroom. So I'm going to keep that photo. This one doesn't do anything for me. So like I said, I can go back to a photo that maybe I thought would be the one, isn't the one, can get rid of it now. So continuing through here. Just going to keep on editing these photos. Definitely happy with some of the Hawthorne Heights photos. Not a pop punk fan at all. Can't say I like pop punk. But tonight, the genre won me over. The band really kicks some major ass. And, I mean, there's nothing more you want more than that. So, gonna keep on going through. Gotta love that deep bokeh. And it's funny. I was shooting a Canon and a Sony, but I was shooting my Sony with a Canon lens for most of the night, which wouldn't make any sense, but adapting lenses is actually very helpful, and I think that Canon does have the best glass, but I do think Sony is my favorite camera body of all time, and it never fails when I'm trying to get the shot, but who knows? Whatever your preference is, that's just what I use. I tried Nikon, have no choice but to use it sometimes. But if I had my choice, it would be Sony and Canon because they both have their own uses, I guess. But so now we're getting some wides. I definitely took this with the Canon EOS R with the Canon 14 to 35 millimeter f4 L lens, which there is a review coming out next week on the Mirth Films YouTube channel about. Definitely love that lens. My first mirrorless Canon lens. I've been adapting all EF glass since that. So I'm not really liking this. Why am I not liking these series of photos? I'm not liking these series of photos because there's so much nothing here. Yeah, we got the drummer here. His head's tucked behind the cymbal. But look at that. There's a huge gap of nothing. Which means when I'm, you know, if I want to print this photo, that means the information's here, left and right. Where's my eye leading? Not good to me. So, yeah, still, this is me kind of just feeling out my lens and what is the pit looking like. So this is starting to get pretty cool. What am I? 28 to 75 f2.8 on the Sony A7 IV Tamron. I would say I love this photo, but where's his leg? I don't see his leg. I mean, that's pretty silly, but again, I'm really trying to capture the moment here, and not have anything blocking my way. And PAs, PA speakers are something that you are always going to deal with as a concert photographer. There's no way of getting around it. But you got to take chances. And here I definitely, while I took a chance, there was no result, which is okay. You can't always have winners. But this is a funny situation here, because this is exactly what I want. But I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that's a good guitar face? Is that a good shredding face, or does it make this guy look kind of silly? I'm gonna keep it. You guys let me know in the comment section. But so regardless, just going off the image, going off of the guy's skin tone, and what I have for light, I am gonna edit it like this is a keeper. So I like Sony a lot, because I feel like it's a lot more sharper. Maybe it's the glass, but I also use fairly decent glass for my Canon, so it doesn't feel like the issue here. But that feels good. But again, maybe I want to just see what it could look like before, or I don't know. It is also high in the highlights. I'm kind of just rambling. This feels like a filibuster. Usually when we're doing the podcast, we have a script. I'm scriptless right now, but that's okay. But yeah, it's kind of like improv here. Just a sick form of improv. If you got the chance, please, again, give Mirth Films a subscribe on the YouTube. That is where we're trying to really push our channel right now. And who knows? Maybe as I'm doing this, I'm going to be doing this editing stuff, live streaming on our Facebook and YouTube going forward. Not for every project again, but just for as many projects as I possibly can, and sharing my techniques with you, and giving you guys a chance to ask questions and all that jazz. So just going to continue through here with all the photos, and just, have fun with it, because that's what photography is all about. It's all about having fun, nothing else. We got some commenters here. Eris, everything looks and sounds good. Thank you, Eris. You sound good, especially on guitar. Glass Pony, the groove is always now, and the groove is always you guys. Huge shout out to Glass Pony. They just released a new single, Bottom of the Ocean, on all the streaming platforms. It sounds beautiful. And guys, if you could, just please in the comment section down below, let us know what recording studio recorded that album, because that song, because wow, blew my mind. And then we also got Dylan McKenzie here in the chat on YouTube, just holding it down, being the sixth man that he is. I can only, what does Dylan say? I can only afford to adapt lenses. That's okay. That's a great thing about photography, is now that there's so many different camera options, there's so many different price points where you can get into full frame photography, which is what I suggest. Get a full frame camera. It'll change your life. You don't need to be any expert. They all basically work under the same premise. So give it a shot. I mean, put that phone away, hold a separate device, capture the moment, put that shit on mute, and enjoy your life, and then bring something home that you'll cherish forever, because that's what I love about photography. So we're gonna continue through here. Not any good to me. Nope. Let's see what else we got here. Don't like that. Don't like that. Don't like that at all. Yep. Gotta pass. And it's hard getting facial expressions, especially with people who are really emotional about their music. Like this guy. I don't know what to do with that, but I'm just going to delete it. I don't know about that either. I might just keep that, but ethically I probably shouldn't. So we're going to continue through here. Oh, man. A lot of blurry photos. Jesus Christ. Keep going here. Yeah, still just looking for something good. Again, you never know. Sometimes you could have a great day shooting. Some days it's just like, why did I even bring this thing out? But it's just, shooting pop punk. I will say, it may not be my cup of tea, but it is so much fun photographing people on stage who show emotion, like Eddie Hoteling from Glass Pony shows so much emotion on stage. Like this is what I'm talking about here. You know, there's a lot of emptiness in this, so I don't really like to crop my photos. I try to keep my photos as true as I possibly can to the frame of what I took my photo with. But sometimes, especially in a photojournalistic style, Mirth Films, our goal is to really just promote live and local music and show what was going on. So documentation is first. Sometimes quality takes a back seat. This wouldn't be a photo that I'd share on my Instagram, but this would be something that maybe somebody else would like, and everybody looks at things differently. And if this photo is complete shit, you can just tell me. It won't offend me. We're going to keep going through here. Keep going through. For those, we got Albany Pride this Saturday and Sunday down at Washington Park. Definitely go check that out in the city of Albany. Also, there's River Street Festival on Sunday in Troy, put on by Radio X, and that's also definitely going to be a good one if you're on that side of the river for those Capital Region music enthusiasts. I'm kind of just rambling, but yeah, so just continuing through just the same series of photos. Seems like I just kept my finger on the trigger and just kept on firing. That's all right, though. We got Kathy Steele here. Shout out to Doug Quimby's mom, Kathy, second mom right here. Alfred E. Newman, oh my God. I've seen this for years. We love your dimples, Frankie. So proud of you. Thank you, Kathy. The dimples are a blessing and a curse. All right, I can work with this photo. So I think I took this with, 2875 f2.8, not too bad. Not a big fan of his facial expression. That's a huge thing for me, facial expression in general. That is what I'm trying to capture, is somebody just in the moment having a good time. And you also got to, keep in mind when you're taking photos of people for a living, you got to remember that, you're promoting what these people are, their identity. So you got to keep that in mind and not put out a silly looking photo of somebody. You can do it of me, that's fine. But people are some people are just sensitive and having your photo taken, it's not fun. That's why I stay behind the camera. But here's a situation where I am going to crop in a little bit. I got a little mic stand here. Not a fan of that. But there we go. We got something we're working with now. And as I was saying, we started with 750 photos. We started with 750 photos here. And now we're already down to 590. So as I was saying, I got probably like 7 photos here that are actually keepers. That's a normal day for me. You'll take 100 gigabytes worth of photos, but what do you keep? Maybe 5 gigabytes. It's just the way it goes. So continuing through here. So great to see so many people supporting live and local music today in Albany. That's something that people should do a lot more. We have so many different bands. If you head to our website, mirth-films.com, you'll see that there's over 50 concerts in the Capital Region this week. So there's really no excuse not to support live and local music. So just, again, do your part. Because I know it would mean a lot to the bands. So, I don't know. Again, dealing with the situation here where there's so much empty space. Can't say I really like it. That is also a downside of using a wide-angle lens with photography is, you either want to be like super up close with the subject, or you want to be as far back as you possibly can and as high up as you can to get that crowd shot. There's really no medium, unless there's like maybe 5 or 6 people on the stage at the same time. That's not the situation here. We had 3 people up front. Thanks, Brock. Great seeing you at Memorial Meltdown, and I can't wait to see you at the next one, man. So here we got some people having a good time on stage here. Um, just surfing through what I have first before deciding what I'm going to edit, because these photos have to be turned around for the next day, for tomorrow morning, for our website. So you got to walk a fine line sometimes. Quality, but you also want to get your stuff out in a timely fashion, because in a world of now, it's just about putting things out ASAP. So like this is a cool photo. I can deal with this. Excuse me. Um, so I'm gonna just first off, just to see what I'm playing with, brighten the exposure. I always like to take my photos a little dark if I have the ability to. When I'm shooting in a low light situation, don't always have that ability, but here we're dealing with so much light. So look what we're doing. Just cropped out a little bit. This is also like a 7,000 pixel photo, so I feel like I have the ability to play with it a little bit. So I like this photo. I do feel like it's a little flat. It's not as dynamic as I would possibly like. This is where I'm like, hey, you know what? This is pop punk band. Maybe I'll take some chances here and add a handy dandy filter. Maybe make it black and white. Actually, that is something I like. And I'll do this just to kind of get some inspiration on what a photo could look like. I don't necessarily use this for my photos all the time, but it's nice to have like a basis. So I like that as my basis. I do feel like it's a little pink or magenta. So I'm going to bring it down, give it a little green hue, and voila. We got some personality with something that we had absolutely nothing with. So we're going to move on to the next one. And what I'll do is if I want to continue using that style, I will copy that style with that photo and then paste it onto another photo to use it as the next basis for what I'm trying to edit next. So I'm going to copy this, Shift Control C on Mac, or it's Shift Command C on Mac, Shift Control C on PC. So I'm going to copy it. And if for those wondering, is there a better computer to edit on? No, it's just the fastest computer you can edit on. Doesn't matter if it's Mac, doesn't matter if it's PC. If you have a preference, you have a preference. But for me, whatever gets the job done, whatever allows me to go to bed at night, that's the computer I use, because efficiency is everything to Mirth Films. We at times have a high demand with what we do, but you gotta keep on keeping on. And so whatever, for me, like, what do I invest in with my gear? At first, it's like you got to get the normal things with photography. Got to get the Holy Trinity. For those who don't know what the Holy Trinity is, it is 3 lenses. It is the wide angle lens, so 14 to 24, 16 to 35, 14 to 35, 15 to 35, whatever. And then you also have the 2470. That is your standard zoom lens, and then you have the 70-200. So you have 3 different ranges. That is one of the biggest, most important things to get as a photographer if you are at that crossing road where you're going to be editing photos and shooting photos for the rest of your life. If not, then that's not something you have to worry about. But this is actually pretty interesting. I haven't tried this once in the whole editing process. I brought my highlights down. So it looks cool, but it looks flat. I don't like HDR style photos, so I'm going to bring my exposure up. But now I got some clouds here. But if I bring it back, if you can see here, it looks pretty edited. It looks pretty gray. It does not look like it should. So I'm going to bring it back to its original form because, again, thinking in a photojournalist perspective, I am trying to present the photo as it actually happened. Maybe with my own style, but, so that's another one. I'm going to keep this photo as well. So this is another situation where I run into where I'm like, oh, I like that one, but I also like that photo. And that's okay because, when you're editing your photos, you're going to be editing your photos and thinking to yourself at first, well, I really love this photo, but I like this one maybe the second best. But when you wake up the next morning and you want to share that photo or maybe share it with the band, your mind might change. So it's good to save both copies of a photo, regardless if it's going to take up space on your hard drive, because, You only live once, and if depending on your process of backing up photos and you don't keep your raws, then you're SOL. So keep what you can. So continuing through here, shout out to everybody I got to see down at Alive at 5. It's always a family affair down there. Shout out to Donald Hyman. Shout out to Ramon Sanchez, who got his dress shirt signed. Shout out to Jake Diedrich, sorry man, from Live Sound, for stage diving during the last song of the night. You're a legend, and don't ever live it down. So continuing through, I feel horrible. This guy, I have no good photos of him. So I'm continuing here. If anybody has anything they want me to talk about, I'm again treating this like a filibuster at this point. So just let me know if you got any questions about what I'm doing, Mirth Films, whatever the hell. So this is cool. I got so I'm just gonna bring up. I don't even remember how to bring up the rule of thirds here, but this is like basically hitting the cross section of the rule of thirds, which you will eventually, once you shoot photography, often you will find that rule of thirds, and use it to your advantage, and then it'll be in your mind without having to see the lines. So we're continuing here. All right. Can't work with it. Continuing through. We got about maybe 10, 11 keepers here. Just continuing to edit. That's what it's all about. Getting the photos done before you go to bed so you don't have to wake up with more work. That's what it's all about. So here we go. Continuing through. Getting on to some wide shots. This is one of the last photos of the band I took. So I'm just going to first start with my exposure and then my shadows, because my blacks are crushed right now. So I am bringing up that a little bit, bringing up the shadows just a little bit. I don't like when people will boost their shadows in their photos so much where it's starting to look flat or faded or HDR-ish, which high dynamic range is dropping the highlights, boosting the shadows. And I just never been a fan of that. I just feel like it looks unnatural. What's up, Adam Stevens? You demand. Not me, you. So next I realized, okay, maybe I'll bring the shadows up just like a hair. And then I'm also going to bring up the clarity because it's going to kind of define the crowd. And that's what you want to show, especially when you're working for a band. I wasn't working for the band directly tonight. I was shooting for Mirth Films. I pretty much want to, I want to show the band having a good time, the crowd having a good time, because that sells. You want to have these photos that help sell the band. So that's what I suggest is capture as much crowd stuff as much as you do of the band. I never understood that when I was first starting out, or, just shooting some of my favorite bands at the time, like Fish. I always thought it was about, I'm going to capture the best photo of Trey. No, well, that's, that's great and all, but, it's just important again to show, okay, the crowd, the community around the music, because it is all about the music, but it's also what it's around it, because without the fans there is nothing. So that's just my philosophy. And so bringing down the highlights, really putting a little bit of time on this photo. I try not to spend more than a minute on a photo if I'm editing for the next day. So here's a situation where I just hit auto just to kind of see what would happen with it. Don't really like it. Bringing up the exposure a little bit. Again, here's another situation where all the photos look so good and so nice and so similar. But again, you don't know. Next day you wake up, you're like, shit, I like that other photo more than I like that other one that I did, but I didn't keep it. So keep everything. Shout out to the Fuzzing Rock show. Shout out to Ralph Renna for all the great and incredible things that both of those guys do here in the Capital Region, promoting heavy. over 30 years, from promotion to Capitol Underground. Everything that they do is freaking awesome, and we're so happy to be comrades with them. So shout out to both of them. Shout out Dylan McKenzie, lighting it up on YouTube right now. Continuing through here, just continuing to delete stuff. Now we're about to go through a random shot of black photos. This is usually a situation where I accidentally hit my camera trigger and not realizing it. So continuing through here, continuing through. Next we're on to, we got Ross Adams, sorry. We got Kathy Conway and the one and only Tim Reedy. Sometimes when people are cheesing for a photo, you can't ever really tell if they're looking at you. So looks like he's looking at me here. So I get rid of them. All three of these folks right here are huge supporters of live and local music. So if you see these guys out at a show, give them a high five. And so I don't want to crunch it too much. Going to bring the texture in just a little bit, soften it up, bring in some yellow in the temperature because I am shooting auto white balance and we're getting some sun at this point. Moving on to the next photo. Don't need it. Got a host of 104.9. I don't know if it's the Edge, the Cat. Radio stations tend to switch a lot now. But sorry, buddy, it doesn't look like a good photo yet tonight. I like this photo. I was just, while listening to this guy talk, I was like, what looks cool on stage? And so this photo actually inspired me. It inspired me to take this photo because shooting fish at Madison Square Garden, or just shooting fish in general, Trey tends to leave his guitar out on stage so you can see it. So when you're in the photo pit before the show starts, you see the Languedoc, the famous Languedoc, and you can't help but not to take a photo of it. It's awesome. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. This guy right here decided to leave his bass on the stage. So I was like, okay, this is a cool scene setter. Something to add for variety for the article that we will be publishing overnight tonight. But yeah, it's just, you don't want to see, 10 shots of the same guy doing the same fucking thing. I mean, how interesting is that? Really? Like, come on. No offense to Trey, no offense to any front man, but like, yeah, when you're looking through a photo gallery, you want to tell the story, and the story is more than, again, the stage. So turned around here awkwardly while I was continuing listening to that guy talk. So this guy's cheesing for a photo. Super pumped to see Hawthorne Heights. I don't blame him. If they were one of my favorite bands, I'd definitely be super pumped too. Shout out Dylan McKenzie, now transferred onto Facebook. I got a crowd shot of Glass Pony at the Monopole that includes the most famous Regular Ralph. Shout out to Regular Ralph. If you know him, then I'm just going to shut up now because he is a legend at Monopole. So this is a photo that, yeah, I could use it, but what happened here? This person doesn't know what they're looking at. This guy has his eyes closed. Bad timing on my side. This is a little better. This I could deal with. So I'm going to delete this one here. Thank you all for staying in here as long as you have, and all the viewers. This is a first-time thing. If you think I should do something like this again, please let me know. I am just trying my best here with trying to get myself through this filibuster of a live stream. But it is something I want to do. I have always wanted to, I don't know, give my advice on what I do with my photography, and so I guess this is my way of doing that. And aside from our YouTube reviews that we do, the podcast, the live shows, all that bullshit, like, I don't know, there's times where I do want to show some more of my photography side of life personally with what I like about it. So this is what I'm doing here. Live streaming and laser beaming here. So this is now, it's about getting it straight here. The horizon looks a little off to me. So that's something I can deal with. It's a little crunch, so I'm going to bring back down that clarity just a hair and continue on. So keeping on here. We're getting into Hawthorne Heights. Shout out to Hawthorne Heights for crushing it. Shout out Brett Porter for the heart. I love you too, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 10:30 for the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast from Putnam Place. So just continuing on here. This is great. Again, another situation. Look at that ugly PA. What the fuck? Excuse my language. But what the heck? This is a situation of me shooting 28 to 75 exactly like I knew it. And just, you don't have that reach. You're not shooting with the 70-200, which means you gotta really either cheat up, which honestly is insulting to the fan, because who wants some guy holding a camera up in front of you? But sometimes you got to do it. But I always try to be conscientious of the fan. If I paid $100 to go sit front row at a concert, or maybe even who knows $1,500 to sit in the pit at Dead and Company, and some asshole was standing in front of me with a camera, I'd probably swat it. That's probably what I'd do. But so, for fellow photographers out there, just remember people are out there trying to enjoy the show. So don't get in their way, or just make it quick, like get your hands up, get it down, call it a day. It's really all you got to do. Not that hard. So I like this photo. His face is a little soft. This is going to be another one of those situations where I'm like, I might just keep it to keep it. But maybe add a little contrast to give it a little personality, a reason why the photo is a little soft. Yeah, this is cool. I really enjoy this because I'd be having to edit this anyway, so I get to edit with you guys. And yeah, so everything I'm shooting, whether if it's music, whether if it's nature, skateboarding, whatever the heck it is, I'm going to be doing this live stream whenever I can. If it's something that's, I guess, on the DL that I can't really be editing live, I definitely won't be doing that live. Or if I'm just, burned out and don't feel like talking to you guys and just want to edit for me, then I'm going to edit for me. But right now I want to edit for you. So this is me editing for you. This is such a, I don't know. Again, not a fan of pop punk. I shouldn't say it that way. I'm not an enthusiast of the music. But I do very much, I did very much enjoy Hawthorne Heights. Blew my expectations and maybe has opened my mind, enlightened me to different types of music. There's nothing wrong with that. So this is a situation where I'm like, yeah, that looks nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that just so I can save that profile of color correction. Now I'm going to go and create a virtual copy, because I realized that, okay, so I have this photo edited the way I like it, but you know what? I'm going to make a backup copy with warm contrast, and look at that. That has a little faded look to it. I personally like the way it looks. So I'm going to keep it. And then I'm going to move on here. For the late nights, got to give a huge shout out to the one and only Red Bull. Can't say it'll give you wings because I'll get them in trouble, but a lot of late nights, which means a lot of black coffee and definitely a lot of Bang energy drinks, which is something I plan on quitting drinking before I turn 30 next week, along with some other things. So, I gotta start taking care of myself here, I guess. So, and any way I can prolong my life to continuing shooting photography is a good reason. So this is something I'm really happy with. I already know I took this with the Sony 2875 just by how tack sharp it is, the personality, the color. Like, I can zoom in to 1,000%, 300%, sorry, and see that his eyes are tack sharp. So that's a thumbs up here. And I'm going to bring down the whites because I can see it in his cheeks a little bit, as you can see. Yeah, not really the biggest deal, but if I have the information to play with in RAW, then why not? So, and shout out to Josh Janes for making one hell of a recap video at Memorial Meltdown. Super excited to be working with him at 80K Fest in Labor Day weekend and potentially on other future endeavors. Shout out Josh Janes. Frankie about to be the big 3-0. Yes, don't remind me. Not looking forward to it. I still got a lot to get done here. And time's ticking, I guess. So, continuing through, I need some freaking water. My mouth is just kind of like dry from talking. It's been a filibuster. I don't even know how long I've been streaming now here. We got, let's see here. I can't even tell. Whatever. Been streaming for 48 minutes. That's pretty cool here. Didn't think I'd make it that long doing this, but we got 447 photos to go. Job's not over, so we're going to keep going here. Continuing through, this is a situation, again, where, you know, I haven't really had many keepers of this bass player specifically, so I'm going to keep this photo because it is a good profile, and because I remembered to copy my color corrections from a previous photo similar to this, I'm going to now paste that to have a basis to work off of, which is Shift-Command-V after you've already Shift-Command-C'd your copy of the color. So I'm going to bring that down, bring up the yellows just a hair. Don't want to golden, make it too golden. And then if I bring my highlights down, I can see that if I bring it down half, it's going to help his cheekbone, which again is, you know, you don't want to have something too high for the highlights. Shout out Cammy. I hope to do this more. This is actually kind of fun. Yeah. So this is usually how I spend my night after a concert. So there's some shows where I just there's no freaking way. There's no way I can edit all my photos the same night. Depending, especially if I'm going there for fun, then I'm definitely not editing all my photos the same night. But if I'm going and I'm going there either to work or to just be on a mission and put something out there for our website on mirth-films.com, then I'm going to bust my ass and get those photos done the same night. It really all depends, especially sometimes, you know, how hyped am I on the photo? Because that's another thing. Yeah, this is work for me, but this isn't like crazy. This is fun. This is all fun, and you're always gonna have your jobs that make you feel like you're working. But this one, I don't know. I have so much fun shooting photography that, you know, it's worth staying up the extra hour and burning the midnight oil, and then making room for more the next day. You know. So here we go. I like that, but I feel like it's a little magenta, so I'm gonna bring it back to the green a little bit. I'll keep it. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not a fan. Dealing with some PA systems and mic stands. No good. So continuing on here. Again, if you haven't tried the Juneberry, if you are an energy drink enthusiast, the Juneberry Red Bulls are pretty good. I definitely would recommend them. Gifted Hater, YouTuber, said that they taste like Robitussin. I would have to strongly disagree. I think you should just eat fruit more often. So this is a situation where, you know, the mic stand's there, but is it killing me? Not really. So I'm gonna just add a little clarity to define the foreground and background a little bit, not bring up the highlights too much, drop the shadow down. Shout out to Josh Janes again, working on a project himself. So it's cool to see I'm not the only one. Well, Josh, shout out to you, man. Shout out to anybody out there creating just to create for the sake of creating and because they love it. Because that's what it's all about. So continuing through here, just getting through these photos as fast as I possibly can, but not too fast where I'm going to make errors. That's no bueno. Again, this is going to be. There's no regular schedule when I'm going to be editing these photos for the sake of the fact that I do this literally 4 or 5 days a week. So, you know, whenever I can, I'm gonna leave a setup here at my desk just to be able to turn the switch on if I want to do this and share with you guys. So YouTube, that is, I will be doing this on Facebook Mirth Films Facebook page as well, but YouTube, that, if anything helps us, it is a subscribe on YouTube. So please go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/mirthfilms, or head to our website, mirth-films.com, so you can go and see all of our platforms and figure out where you can follow us. However you like to ingest media, we like to make sure we have that offering for you. So continuing through exposure here, going to boost a little bit. Now, what am I doing after this, huh? It's going to be pretty late, right? No. I'm going to write an article. Going to put together a little reel for the Mirth Films Instagram of the events today at Alive at 5. And get ready. We gotta pack. We every Fridays we usually record the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast at Putnam Place. Huge shout out to Putnam Place every single week for letting us do the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast at the venue that we all love. And so that's usually, I'll wake up at like 9 a.m., get my gear in my car, send it up to Saratoga Springs, shoot the podcast, come back down, do something else. That's usually how life goes on Fridays. But it's a good chance to see the boys, see Brett, see Dougie, two of my best friends, along with the guy over here, Ramon Sanchez, also homie for life. But here's a situation where that copy-paste did not work because the dynamic range in this photo just ain't that good. And that's just a case of the Canon EOS R not having the best sensor. If you're shooting Canon in 2023, definitely, if you're not staying DSLR, shoot the R5, the R6, the R8. All of them have the new Digic 10 processor, which is going to give you better dynamic range in your photos. So that is something that's really important, and that's why I heavily lean on my Sony, because it does the job every time. So now we're getting into some personality here. This guy looks like he's step dancing. Is he wearing sambas or is he wearing bushnets? It looks like he's wearing sambas. So we're going to keep this photo here, keep it on going. Man, I don't know if it's just a mixture of all the smoke that we've had the last couple of days, or I'm just dehydrated, but yeah, my throat hurts. So continuing on here, it looks a little crunched in the face, so I might just add a little texture, bring that down, and it's just my way of editing a photo. This is how I get from point A to point B. Sometimes I'll try to do the auto align. Sometimes it doesn't work, especially with a 14 to 35, because it is super wide and distorted in the corners. So sometimes it doesn't give a good auto align. So you just gotta undo it, I guess. But here we go. This is Hawthorne Heights. This guy's playing a Gibson, very nice Gibson SG. Actually, both of them, lead singer too, also playing a Gibson SG. Continuing through here, let's see here. Not a fan. Nope. Getting somewhere. He's close, but no cigar, in the sense that he's not really doing shit. Well, that's kind of a nice shot right here, but if you can see, this is going to be a major crop job here. So let's just see what it looks like, see if there's any information retained. I don't know. I feel like ethically as a photographer, I shouldn't even keep this photo because of how much I cropped. But again, for telling the story on mirthfilms.com, mirth-films.com, heck, why not? I'll keep it. Dylan McKenzie, wish I was in Pine Bush for the smoky air. Dylan, man, you're the only one thinking the whole time, let's get Wild in the Trees, which, for those who are wondering, Wild in the Trees is coming back. It is our music and skateboarding festival happening October 7th and 8th at the Lake George Skate Plaza. Definitely go and check that out. So just continuing through here, getting through these photos. Might call it in a few minutes, just so I can bang these out without having to talk and do this. Unless you want me to continue on, because I can definitely continue on editing this shit, because I'm going to have to do it anyways. But yeah, all is good. Here we go. Got some drummer action here. A little out of focus. Catching his hat. Might be a situation where, shit, I just might have to keep it. Just bringing down the contrast. It's cool. You can see some purple fall off from some of the stage lighting that did exist there. The very minimal stage lighting. Yep, continuing through here. Got some epic pop punkness going on with the Hawthorne of the Heights. So this is something hey, like, okay, this guy's in rock star mode. Let's just see if he's in focus. I don't know. I think I remember during taking this photo, exactly, 1/125th, bit myself in the ass here. A shot like this, you want to be at like 1/250th minimum. But, whatever. This might be a situation where I'm going to straight up send it to black and white, crunch the contrast here, straighten the photo out just a hair, and then maybe because, okay, so you can see here, you have your rule of thirds. He's dead center. That's not where the eye draws, so I might have to, unfortunately, do the ultimate photography sin and crop it. So this photo looks like crap. No problem saying that. But, so you know what? Sometimes you just can't save crap. So I'm going to auto this, maybe look at this photo in a different perspective, bring up the contrast. This looks like something I can work with here. This looks like that looks like my style that I'm happy with. So I'm going to do the same thing, but just not crop it as much here. So that he's kind of hitting. But that fucking mic stand. There we go. So maybe he's leaning a little front. That's okay. Dylan, I can stay up all night if you need, even if you don't talk. Man, I just might do that. Thank you, Dylan. Continuing through here. We have Hawthorne. We have Heights. We got it all. This is something I'm super happy with. Definitely took this is my guess. 85 1/8 Canon. Boom. 85 1/8 Canon. Why did I shoot an 85 1/8 Canon? Because I didn't feel like carrying a 70-200 in the pit at this point. I was like, it'd probably be a lot lighter to carry the 85 1/8. And Tim Reedy was also like, hey, Frank, don't you think that's a little heavy for a show like this? I was like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm going a little crazy here with my lenses here. So this is something I'm already liking. Just brought the whites down, boosted the exposure, boosted the contrast of hair, clarity. And what else am I going to do? Just see what happens with the blacks, and then maybe put some vibrance in it because he's got a nice salmon coat, and it looks a little vibrant. So why don't we add some vibrance here? Continuing through here, though, just doing the do. Doing the Dewey. Not a fan. I'm a fan. I like this one. So I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit. And, for the cheekbone, too, maybe I add some texture. Soften his face up a little bit. Gotta shave. Again, you got to think about this from sometimes the other person's perspective. You're taking a photo of somebody. This photo's potentially going to be seen by a lot of people, so you want to represent them the best way, and the best way is by just being, I guess, aware of, hey, maybe you have a certain way you look, maybe you want to make sure that they also look flattering in whatever way you feel. I don't know. That's just the way I look at things. Like a photo like this. I would never share this photo. This guy, this just looks like a wrong time photo, like, what are you gonna do? So again, not a fan of any of these. It's all good. I don't even know how many photos left here. We got a lot. We got 319 photos left in the strip. How much are keepers at this point? Probably like 30 from 720 shots. Like I said, this is just something that, you know, it's just, it is what it is when you're a photographer. You're going to shoot so many photos and then, you know, realize, okay, wow, I shot way too much. So that's why you also got to remember, if you have the time and you're not within this 3-song limit, then I personally would take my time and frame my shots and be aware of how much I'm shooting. But with something like this, you don't know, what's going to happen. You want to just fire away. You want to fire at all cylinders. And so that's kind of what I did in some scenarios, at least throughout the duration of the 3 songs. But here we go, continuing on. Hate this photo only because of the way the color looks. It just looks like crap to me. And maybe it's just because, so maybe I'll just bring down the blacks a little bit here. You're just, you got to play with your photos to make them pop. That's all right. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Maybe it is a contrast. There we go. I like that. Cool. So that's something I could deal. I could deal with that. Okay. We got our buddy from something pharmaceutical. I can't remember the name of the band, but he is a part of a Glens Falls band, that dude. So it's a situation where I'm just kind of firing away, seeing what I can get. Spray, pray, spraying and praying. So what is this? Looks like we're dealing with an 85-1/8 shot again. Love this shot. I'm going to lift the shadows a little bit because you can see in this corner it looks a little dark near his right eye. Gonna add the clarity, drop the whites, drop the blacks, bring up the yellows, add a hair of contrast, little vibrance, little black, little shadow. Looks overrated. Boom. All right, I can deal. Next. But I am going to copy that style just to make my life easier for the next shot, just in case I like it. Or not. Let's see. Boom. Got some whiteness in the cheek here. Going to bring that down just a little bit just to balance out the photo. But I think I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm going to get these photos done myself. But just again, for all those who watched tonight, this is just a preview of what I plan on doing going forward to try to connect with people from a photographer's perspective, not just from a way of sharing live and local music content. So photo editing throughout any of these processes that I do, don't hesitate to ask any questions regarding photography, video, how to get involved with the live music community, how to get involved with video production. Are you, trying to go to college and trying to figure out what's the best path to go down? What camera gear do I need? Or if you just want to tell us what your favorite band is and why we should listen to them, then we can absolutely hear you out on that as well. So this is editing with Frankie. And again, this is going to be happening often. It's going to be happening randomly. And it's going to be I'll try to be editing on as I go. This was kind of just whipped together last minute. This was a last minute idea like I have for a lot of the things I do. And so my goal, again, is to just promote going out and shooting, having fun with photography, supporting live and local music, and just if you can, make it a plan to go at least once every couple of weeks to go see a show, because you don't understand how much it's going to help another band. So I'm Frankie Cavone of Mirth Films, and as always, subscribe to us on YouTube, subscribe to us on Facebook, all the platforms. I don't even know of them all anymore. We're on a lot of them, though. So definitely recommend, and we'll see you on the next one. Smoke them if you got them.